Hey guys, and welcome to Petrol Ped. Now, apologies for not doing a midweek 180 last week, but I thought I'd give you my first Dream Car Garage episode. And if you listen very carefully in the background, there is drilling and all kinds of activity going on, but more on that later. And also, busy week last week. I dropped 4 videos for you last week, so very, very busy video on the channel. I dropped the Kia EV3 video on Thursday because of a global embargo. But yeah, I'm pushing lots and lots of content your way. If you've not seen one of these before, this is my midweek update where I give you my news, views and information about upcoming reviews, all filmed in one take. Loads to talk about this week. Let's get the housekeeping out the way. From the previous midweek 180, leader of the pack was Michael Kember. Well done, mate. Joined in the Magnificent 7 by Francois G, Rod Matheson, Malcolm Brew, Leanne Jackson, Stephen Spink and Jake Warren. So whoever puts the first comment this week, you'll be my leader of the pack next week, and the first 7 comments will be in my Magnificent 7. Where are you and what you're doing? That was Keith Waybury, who was busy travelling in his motorhome in Australia, and it's just coming into the Australian autumn, which I always find weird. Obviously, opposite ends of the globe, we're just coming into our summer. Maybe it'll arrive at some point soon. I don't know. I also just wanted to mention, you guys will probably notice I tend to wear quite a lot of Goodwood merch. I've done quite a few photo shoots with a Goodwood team over the last few Festival of Speeds and members meetings and so on. And I'm super excited to, on the run up to Festival of Speed, be working with the guys at Goodwood to promote their line of really nice merch. They've got some lovely t-shirts and jumpers and hoodies and hats. I'm rocking the new, I really like this one. This is the new Festival of Speed t-shirt. Let me spin round and show you the back. Very, very cool. So I've got a link I'll put in the description below and in a pinned comment. If you buy through that link, you get free shipping, and I thought you'd like that. So yeah, if you want your Goodwood merch, what I'll do over the next couple of weeks, and make sure you tune into my socials on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be putting stuff on there as well, because it's really nice stuff. Anyway, last week's question, I asked about fuel prices, whether fuel was going up in your area. Sad to say, it seems to be that is the case, but it's not quite hit the horrible highs of a few years ago. This week's question, I wanted to know what your favourite racing livery is. And this is because of something I'm going to be talking about a bit later on with the new Lancia Ipsilon rally car that's in Martini livery. And I wonder what your favourite livery is. For me, I've got 2. I love the Silk Cut Jaguar livery from the 1988 Le Mans win. From that era, I just thought that was cool. And I also loved the Mazda 787B livery, the Charge Mazda, the orange and the green. I just thought that was wicked as well. But I love, and obviously things like, well, Martini livery is quite cool. Alitalia livery, yeah. Anyway, what's your favourite? Now then, Formula One from the weekend. Qualifying was really cool. Qualifying at Monaco is always amazing. The race was a bit dull. Even Max Verstappen he said he should have brought his pillow along. As soon as that safety car happened on the first lap, I knew it was going to be a dull race because everyone was going to change their tyres and everyone was going to go for a 0 stop after that. So I think for me, what they should do at Monaco is introduce a mandatory 2-stop race, because that would just spice things up a bit. Anyway, put that to one side. I still found it fascinating. I love Monaco. It's my favourite race of the year. For some reason, I just love going to Monaco and love the whole history of it. But to see Charles Leclerc finally get his hands on the winning trophy at Monaco was just very, very special. And for me, what made it, his reaction afterwards was amazing. But Prince Albert's reaction on the step when he was handing out the trophies, he was crying. And then the fact he got out a bottle of champagne and started spraying it around to everybody, I thought that was absolutely brilliant. But yeah, I'm so happy for Charles. He is one of my favourite drivers. I love Charles Leclerc. I think he's very, very cool. And will be a great teammate to Lewis Hamilton next year. And then Formula E briefly, the weekend just gone was round 11 and 12 from Shanghai. Round 11 was won by Mitch Evans in Jaguar. Ollie Rowland, my mate, came 4th, so happy with that. And then round 12 was won by Antonio Felix da Costa from Porsche. Now, talking about Porsche, we've got a new one. Finally, we've got information about the new 911, the 992.2, and it's a hybrid. Now, I'm sure this is going to upset loads and loads of Porsche fans. They've changed a few things. The fact there's a hybrid 911 probably will upset some people. It's been done primarily to do emissions, but they've done some clever stuff. It's a very interesting hybrid system, and yes, it helps with emissions, and the way it does that is really clever, but it's really basically just to make the car go faster, which is so typically Porsche. From the outside, if you look hard, you'll see it's a 992.2. The front is changed. There was a little light bar underneath the front headlamp. That's now gone, and that's all been integrated into the headlamp. And there are some new grills now at the bottom on the front valance on either side. And they're active aero. They'll open and close accordingly, closing for aero, obviously opening for cooling. So the front end looks a bit different. The rear end looks a bit different. The light bar's slightly changed, but it's still a pretty looking car, and it's still clearly a 992. I think the exhausts have come in a little bit as well, so they're a little bit closer together, which is quite a nice look from the rear. But it's the GTS T hybrid, T being lowercase. And it has this electric turbo on it. And I've been watching videos this morning and trying to absorb it all. And it's quite complex, but it looks really, really cool. The way that the turbo works, it kind of does two things. One, it has the ability to cool the catalytic converter, and that helps reduce emissions, because what would normally happen is to cool a catalytic converter, you basically run the engine rich, and you therefore use a little bit more fuel. So in one respect, it can help with emissions, but in the other respect, it can also, when it's spinning, be used to charge the small hybrid battery. And it's only got a 1.9 kilowatt hour battery, so it's tiny. It's about the size of a 12-volt battery you'd normally find in a car. But that powers a 56 horsepower motor that's mounted inside the gearbox, and that does a lot of torque fill. And by all accounts, they have completely eliminated turbo lag, to the point where there's only one turbo now on the 911. So they've bored the engine out a little bit. So instead of a 3-litre twin turbo, it's now a 3.6-litre single turbo with this clever hybrid system bolted onto it. And it now produces, so this is just the GTS. This isn't a turbo or a Turbo S. The GTS 911 is now 541 horsepower and 610 Newton meters. And if you get the 4-wheel drive version, it'll do 0 to 62 in 3 seconds. What on earth is the turbo going to be like? I mean, seriously? And then on the inside, a couple of little things on the inside. Again, one of which, unless you're a real 911 aficionado, you might not realize, but there used to be a little kind of rotating on-off switch to turn the car on. That's gone. It's now a button. And the big thing for me, and I know my good mate Joe Achilles is going to be upset about this, the main instrument binnacle in the 992 still had an analog rev counter with 2 screens either side, but they were delivered on a little TFT screen. That's all now straight out of new Macan and Taycan. So the rev counter is now a digital affair, which is a shame. I quite like that kind of juxtaposition between the analog rev counter and the digital dash, but it's all digital now. But yeah, very, very interesting indeed. And then another new car I wanted to briefly talk about, because I saw a picture of it. I was coming back from Paris yesterday, and I'd literally just flicking through Instagram and went, oh wow, what's that? Is the new Lancia Ipsilon HF. Now, Lancia are bringing the Ipsilon HF as a road car. It's an electric car. It's basically, it's part of the Stellantis group. It's got a 240 horsepower motor, and they are going to be bringing an HF spec Gamma and Delta to market as well. And it's pretty cool, but the renders that you see, what they're also going to do is take it rallying, not in EV form. The Rally 4 car is going to have a 1.2 litre petrol engine with, I think it's about 210 horsepower, something like that. And that's going to go rallying. But they've mocked it up in Lancia Martini livery, and it just looks awesome. So I just thought that was really cool and worth a mention. And then the last couple of bits of admin, I just mentioned I was in Paris yesterday with Alpine, doing a film that's under embargo until the middle of next month, but it's worth waiting for. What the car I saw yesterday was just mega, like really, really mega. And then very shortly, in about half an hour's time, I'm getting a new Mini Cooper S delivered by Mini, because on Friday of this week, I'm driving to the Nurburgring with Mini for the N24, the 24 hours of the Nordschleife, and I cannot wait. I've never been to the N24 before. I'll be cheering on my mate Charlie Cooper, who's driving. There's 2 Minis in the race, and Charlie's driving one of them. We're with Mini at Mini Base Camp in the pits, and I just think it's going to be a fantastic weekend. I'm so excited. I will be bringing you along for the ride, but make sure you're following me on Instagram. I'll be putting lots of stories up, I'm sure, but I will do a video for the main channel. And I'm also really excited about getting access to the new Cooper S, because I haven't driven it yet. I've seen pictures of it. I've seen one and looked at it inside through a window, but I've not had any experience driving it. So I'm very, very excited about that. And then next week, there might be a new Mini coming to the garage, maybe. But stay tuned for that. And then finally, this Friday's video at 6 is the Audi RS3 Sportback that I had a couple of weeks ago. Honestly, just a proper car. Daytona grey metallic, really nice spec. I do a 0 to 60 test, and it's pretty spectacular, to be honest. That's a film I hope you'll enjoy. And then on Monday, I'm going to bring you the next episode of my Dream Garage build. I'm so chuffed with the response I've had from that. It's been so positive. One of the most positive videos I've done in terms of comments. There was barely a negative comment in the comment section, which is so rare these days. Everyone seems to be invested in it. I'm really excited about the project. I went away for a day yesterday, came back, and the work that they've done in a day and a half is unreal. And lots of what I've tried to do in this second episode rather, is answer some of the questions that came up in the first one. So make sure you tune in on Monday at 6 for that. But I'm waffling. I'm going to love you and leave you there because I've got loads to do today. I've been away so much the last couple of weeks. It's nice to have a couple of days at home just to get some admin done. There's a couple of really exciting projects I'm working on, one of which I'll tell you about in a couple of weeks' time. I've got a call about it tomorrow, but it's the biggest thing in terms of event I've ever done. It snowballed from a conversation over a glass of wine with a mate to suddenly an event that could have maybe a couple of thousand people rock up to it. So, oh dear, what have I done? Anyway, hope you're all well. But for now, I love you and leave you. You take care. If you enjoyed that, give me a thumbs up. Comments below are always welcome. And if you haven't done so already, please subscribe to Petrol Ped for plenty more content to come. And I'll see you on the next film. You take care, guys. Drive safe.